I know what you're thinking. Wait, STIX, there are still MMOs coming out? Yeah, there are. There aren't all that many left. There are even less of those that are even remotely promising, which is where today's video comes in. I want to take a moment here to go over the MMOs that I am most eagerly anticipating, not only in 2025, but going beyond. Once again, there are not a whole lot of games releasing that I think are genuinely going to be good or that really could possess any potential. There are 6. They do have a theme here. We're gonna go through these one by one alphabetically. I'm sure there are plenty of you out there that have differing opinions, and that's totally fine. We all have different likes and dislikes, but with the failure of Throne and Liberty, with the failure of Grand Saga, with the failure of Odin Valhalla Rising, and a slew of other MMO releases over the course of the last few years, admittedly, my hopes for a good MMO aren't really that high. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. Blue Protocol Star Resonance is an MMO that if you have been a viewer of mine, a member of our community, or have been watching this channel at any point since 2019, would know that I'm very eagerly anticipating, because Blue Protocol is an MMO unlike any other, or was supposed to be. It got shut down. It got canceled, and then it just kind of faded into oblivion momentarily until China decided they were going to purchase the intellectual property and develop an entirely new game that was very different thematically and aesthetically than the OG Blue Protocol, while at the same time maintaining its personality and having it still feel and operate exactly like the OG Blue Protocol. But there was a difference. The combat was a little better. The graphics were definitely, with regards to the environment, better. There was quite a bit more in terms of class diversity. They removed a lot of things that were hindering Blue Protocol, like the stamina on the pets, like the limited skill system. They introduced new methods of transportation. You can fly, you can glide, you can climb up wall, or, you know, there are certain interactable environments now that allow for you to climb up walls and stuff. So there's a lot of diversity now in terms of exploration, traversal, a lot more in terms of content, or at the very least there was from the beta tests that both my wife, Mrs. STIX, and I got to participate in. The story was completely overhauled and is significantly better now. It feels like there is a JRPG story being told while you're playing with hundreds of other players. They also removed a lot of the little loading screens between each small zone. Now they're just enormous open areas, which is a lot better. Then it kind of, honestly, it baffles me that a Chinese MMO somehow manages to be a better JRPG MMO than a Japanese developer that prides itself on JRPGs like the Tales of series. But either way, regardless of Bandai Namco's absolute and utter failures, this right here is very, very fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. Another MMO I'm looking forward to playing, Chrono Odyssey. This is a Korean MMO. Admittedly, I'm a little bit reserved with this one because I feel like it is being developed by the same studio, or a subsidiary of the studio that made Grand Saga. Grand Saga was a very mobile MMO that was ported to PC and ultimately turned out to be pretty terrible. I like Mrs. STIX and I are still very excited for this, but at the same time, like, you have to go into it with the knowledge that their first MMO was a complete and utter failure, and that was the only experience that they had. The mobile MMO was the only experience that they'd had as developers. How much can we expect from them for a PC console exclusive? Is it gonna be as mobile? Is it gonna be as predatory? Maybe. For all intents and purposes, it is also a Korean MMO, pay to win, free to play. They kind of go hand in hand when it comes to Korean games. As much as we don't want to admit that. This is an action MMO. It has a beautiful aesthetic, but still, even though it's releasing this year, supposedly the next several months, there's still so little known about it. What we do know a lot about, though, is Crystal of Atlan, which is the next MMO on this list. Mrs. STIX and I also got to play the beta for this, and ultimately it turned out to be a lot of fun as well. This isn't an open world MMO like Chrono Odyssey or like Blue Protocol Star Resonance. It's more of a segregated world MMO. Think Final Fantasy XIV, where the towns are a hub that you exist in with tons of other players, and then there are areas that you also exist in with other players that you go through a loading screen for. So it features like segregated, cut off, split off instance areas that aren't, you know, like a dungeon or something that you need to queue for, like in I guess something like Dragon Nest. It's much more open than that. It's similar to, I guess, an amalgamation of Dragon Nest and Final Fantasy XIV. That's the best way I can explain it. It has very good action combat, and honestly, it kind of surprised me because it looked really good and played really good as well. I'm a little iffy on how good it'll ultimately end up being because it does have mobile crossplay functionality, but from what I played, it didn't seem heavily pay to win. It didn't seem very mobile focused or mobile oriented, which was great. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. Dragon Sword is the, I guess, spiritual successor to Dragon Nest. There was a Dragon Nest 2 MMO made. This was a mobile exclusive game, and it was terrible. Genuinely, wholeheartedly terrible. I played it. MRSSSTIX played it. It was bad. Literally autoplay, auto combat, auto pathing, mess of a game. Dragon Sword is actually being developed by the OG Dragon Nest devs. So not the people that are in charge of it now, not the people that drove it into the ground. These are people that worked on it originally, back when it was good, back when it was fun, back when it was relevant. So I'm hoping here that they managed to retain a little bit of that, of what made OG Dragon Nest such a good, fun game to play. This game is touted as being open world, as we have seen from the trailers. There is flight, there is underwater. You can actually traverse areas completely underwater, which is really cool. There are underwater mounts. The level of traversal and I think variety and depth here in terms of exploration is going to be crazy for an MMO. The combat is action oriented. I'm not sure if they're going to have classes in the form that Dragon Nest had, which is where you essentially pick from a list of classes, but they have their own predetermined like look and style. Then you can make small little modifications to them rather than offering a character creator that is extensive, like in Blade and Soul or Blank Desert. The beta is apparently happening, I think, in the next month or so in Korea. So I guess we'll find out more when that goes live. But as someone that really enjoyed Dragon Nest and someone that loves anime MMOs, this guy right here is really looking forward to it. Another anime MMO that I'm really looking forward to that is also based on an intellectual property that already exists, Dungeon Fighter Overkill. This right here, I love Dungeon Fighter Online. I genuinely love it to death. It is such a fun MMO, and the devs have sponsored me, I feel like at least a dozen times over the course of the last few years. This right here, this is essentially a complete graphical overhaul. It looks incredible. The combat looks even better. Everything about this game just blew my mind when I saw it. I could not wait, and I still cannot wait to not only test this game, but to also play it. Because this is Dungeon Fighter Online fully realized in, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume 2026, because I haven't heard anything about it releasing in 2025, but at the same time, I know it's definitely along the way to being fully developed. Tomo Endless Blue was actually just announced, I think it was like a month ago, and I did a reaction to this. I posted a video on it, and I called it something akin to the Pokemon MMO we've been waiting for, because there is a confirmed several thousand player limitation imposed per server. There is the ability to go out and capture Tomo, I think, which are essentially the equivalent of Pokemon. You can use them in battle, you can help them, use them to help you, I think, in terms of like farming and other survival aspects like in Power World. So I guess this is kind of an amalgamation of an MMO and a survival and a Pokemon game. So think Power World if Power World were an MMO. I think that might be the closest comparison we can make. This game looks so messed up, an absolute ton of fun, and I'm hoping that ultimately this doesn't just end up like some cheap Power World knockoff, and rather it ends up a really, really good quality, unique MMO that we don't really have right now. And then finally, Where Winds Meet. This one's a little different because it was confirmed to be an MMO. It was confirmed to have both single player and multiplayer functionality with regards to the story. And then it was confirmed to have non-story elements that were doable with a massively multiplayer audience. So you have the option here of playing by yourself, playing with friends, and playing with a lot more. I don't know what type of content is really gonna be in that the whole like massively multiplayer envelope, but at the same time, does it really matter? Like, you can go out in the world with thousands of people and fight enormous bosses or farm, like, I don't know. There is apparently a beta test being held very soon, and then it is confirmed to be releasing in 2025 as well. I was told I need to do a dedicated video on this, so I very well might in, I don't know, the next couple days or so. And given I like both wuxia and shansha themes, this is probably right up my alley. I was really sad to see Justice Online get canceled, or essentially canceled, because we've been waiting, it still hasn't come out yet. Moonlight Blade never make it, and then Swords of Legends Online, and there was another one, I forgot what it was that launched, but also fail horrifically. And I'm still excited for Perfect New World, the Jade Dynasty world thing, and Honor of Kings world, but I'm not entirely sure if that's an MMO. Speaking of, I'm gonna add that onto the end here, because if Honor of Kings world is an MMO, because we've seen a lot of players playing concurrently in some of the trailers, that is gonna blow my mind. That game looks insane. It is developed by the studio that did Honor of Kings, so the budget is off the charts. The combat looks great. The story looks fun. I love the kind of wuxia, shansha, futuristic, but also fantasy theme that it has going for it. Seriously, there are a lot of Asian MMOs that are on the horizon. They all look really cool. And unfortunately, I think the only Western MMOs that hold any real potential here are like Ashes of Creation in 2073, the Riot MMO after its 7th cancellation or its 7th setback in 2085, and maybe, yeah, that's probably it. They're the only Western MMOs that I think really carry any real potential. And those are the only Asian MMOs that I think also hold any real potential. Now, MRSSSTIX, my wife, is gonna be doing a video coming in the next probably like month or two, going over every MMO confirmed to be releasing in 2025, and then also confirmed to be releasing beyond 2025. I think there's like 40 or 50 MMOs in that list. But until then, these right here are the MMOs I am most looking forward to. Hopefully you are as well, and if you're not looking forward to any of these, let me know what you are looking forward to down in the comment section below. I'd love to cover them, especially if those MMOs are releasing this year. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment, so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.